Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. PNP Shock, saddened over Councillor Parkin's death. The People's National Party PNP has expressed shock and sadness over the death of Councillor Ainsley Parkins, who was shot and killed on Thursday morning. According to a statement from the PNP, Parkins was on duty as councillor, conducting assessments of a project he was undertaking in the South Borough Division in East Central St. Catherine when he was killed. The party said Parkins dutifully represented the South Borough Division before going to describe him as an outstanding public servant who dedicated himself to the welfare and progress of his constituents. The PNP added, throughout his tenure, he worked tirelessly to tackle the pressure and issues faced by his constituents, and his remarkable achievements have left an indelible mark on the lives of those he served. As a party, we are deeply appreciative of Councillor Parkins' contributions and outstanding service to the people. The party went on to condemn the killing of the councillor and call on the police to act swiftly to find the persons or person responsible. The PNP condemns this heinous act of violence in our strongest possible terms. We call upon law enforcement agency to conduct a swift, thorough, and impartial investigation, leaving no stone unturned in the pursuit for justice. It is imperative that the perpetrators of this heinous act are swiftly identified and held accountable to face the full extent of the law, the PNP said. It went on to extend condolences to Parkins' family and encourage the constituents of Southborough to remain united during this period of grief as the party strive to preserve and uphold the legacy of Councillor Parkins. Brothers killed, house torch in St. James. Two males said to be brothers were shot and killed at their home. Then it was set ablaze by unknown assailants late Wednesday night in Long Bay on the border of St. James and Trelawney. The deceased have been identified as Long Bay residents, 22-year-old Gregory Forbes and 16-year-old Neil Samuels. Residents said they heard a barrage of gunshots about 11 p.m. and noticed that the house was on fire sometime later. The bodies of Forbes and Samuels were subsequently found. It is understood that other occupants in the house at the time managed to escape the attack. Sit out by prosecutors delay 68 court cases in St. James Hanover Parish Court. Over 68 court matters in the St. James and Hanover Parish Courts will be delayed on Thursday as prosecutors have withdrawn their services. The prosecutors are reportedly staging a sit-out to protest concerns over their previous attempts at a meeting with the Minister of Finance Dr. Nigel Clark regarding salary negotiations. Reporters understand that two letters were sent to the minister on May 26 and July 12 of this year. In a statement obtained by reporters dated July 20, 2023, the prosecutors noted that they have received no response to their letters to date. We perceive this lack of response as utter disregard and disrespect to prosecutors, the statement said. The letter, which were reportedly emailed, are said to have been copied to Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck, the permanent secretaries in the Finance and Justice Ministries, and the Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn. Today, the prosecutors have called an urgent meeting to address our concerns regarding our welfare, well-being, and the way forward, the statement further stated. President of the Cornwall Bar Association, Michael Hemmings, is throwing his support behind the prosecutors as he told reporters that their concerns should be immediately addressed. The Cornwall Bar Association is in support. This matter needs to be resolved quickly because it is impacting the operations of the court, Hemmings stated. He added, sit-out by the prosecutors will cause delay in matters, and whoever needed to address these concerns ought to do that. We trust that there can be some speedy resolution to this matter. A breakdown of the matters indicated that among the affected are 28 cases before the Gun Court, over 20 in the Hanover Circuit Court, and 20 in the St. James Circuit Court.
Presently, there are 7 parishes which have circuit sittings. They are Kingston, St. Catherine, Hanover, Trelawney, St. Mary, St. James, St. Catherine, and Clarendon. At the Home Circuit Court, most of the criminal courts have been affected. Only 1 of 9 courts proceeded as scheduled. The parishes of Hanover, St. Catherine, St. Mary, St. James, and Clarendon have all been affected. The Trelawney Circuit proceeded as scheduled.
Man found guilty of killing couple in St. Catherine. Andre Knight was on Wednesday convicted of the October 2013 double murder of a Trinidadian man and his female Jamaican companion. An anonymous guilty verdict was returned by the jury in the St. Catherine Circuit Court of the killing of 30-year-old Karen Fraser and 19-year-old Tanashe Bennett. Knight was remanded for sentencing on September 27. The court ordered a social inquiry report. The Crown led evidence that Knight and his co-accused, Fabian Davis, who has since died, were held with a vehicle that was being driven by the couple at the time of their disappearance. Checks inside the vehicle led to the discovery of bloodstains, which turned out to be human. The police subsequently found the body of the deceased buried in Duncan Spence, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. The investigation led to the duo being charged with the murders. Knight escaped police custody but was recaptured in Westmoreland in January 2016. One dead following two-vehicle collision in Ocho Rios. A man died from injuries he sustained in a motor vehicle crash on the Ocho Rios bypass in St. Ann on Wednesday. He has been identified as 34-year-old Orrin Allen, a chef from Salem Runaway Bay in the parish. According to the police, around 11 p.m., Allen was driving his Honda Civic along the thoroughfare when he crashed into a Jaguar motor car traveling in the opposite direction. The police were called to the scene and occupants of both vehicles were rushed to hospital where Allen was pronounced dead. This brings to 290 the number of persons who have been killed in fatal crashes since the start of the year. According to the Road Safety Unit, these deaths resulted from at least 201 fatal crashes. No abnormality in calculation of public teacher wages, stated Dr. Clark. There is no abnormality in the calculation of wages for public school teachers under the restructured compensation system. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark explained that the issue is instead related to discrepancies in conversion. He was responding to questions from his opposition counterpart Julian Robinson in Parliament on Wednesday. Dr. Clark said the conversion discrepancy issues are being addressed.
An anomaly is a difference in outcome as compared with what the policy ought to yield. Okay? That's the definition of anomaly. Some people have anomalies, an outcome that I don't like. With respect to the anomalies that have been formally raised by the JTA, where they provided a number of examples with payslips and TRNs and so on, all of those Transformation Implementation Unit having checked each of those that were provided, there were no anomalies in any of them in terms of the calculations. However, in some instances, there were conversion discrepancies, and those conversion discrepancies have been pointed out for the Ministry of Education to address them. So I believe that they are being addressed, those conversion discrepancies. The number of persons for whom the JTA would have provided details, I'd have to estimate the number, but I would say that if I can do it from memory, it would be somewhere between potentially 15 people and 25 people, in that range. That is what they provided physically. I don't know how many of them there was a conversion discrepancy in, but the conversion discrepancies are being addressed, and a mechanism for flagging these kinds of issues if they arise has been, there's an understanding of what a mechanism ought to be, where they're pointed out at the local level, and the local level means the pay station, where the payments are actually being made and being calculated, which is a local, if it's a bursa-paid school, the school, and otherwise the Ministry of Education.
Roman Catholic priest accused of child sexual abuse granted $800,000 bail. Roman Catholic priest Lawrence, who is charged for the alleged sexual abuse of a child, was granted $800,000 bail when he appeared before the St. Catherine Parish Court on Wednesday. He was ordered to report to the Matilda Corner Police 3 times weekly, surrender his travel documents, and avoid contact with the complainant. He is to return to court on September 27 when the matter will again be mentioned. Lawrence is charged with rape, sexual grooming, having sexual intercourse with a person under 16, and abduction. When the case was mentioned on Tuesday, Parish Judge Natalie Kerr-Dixon requested documentation on whether the accused had had any prior brush with the law. The required documents were furnished to the court on Wednesday. Attorney-at-law Charles Williams represented Lawrence in the case. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification